I'm your host, Bethany McCarty, and I'm here with Anise, Dudley, and Shanae. If you've been keeping up, this month we are geared towards a healthy Bahamas. Last week we had the owner of a vegan deli, Marlene McKinney, giving us great tips on how to keep our bodies well. So we figured why not counter the dietary lifestyle with fitness, because they pretty much go hand in hand. Hence, to give us the scoop on all things fitness, we have with us Dekel, but many of you may know her as Bowflex Barbie. Welcome to the show, Dekel.
Hello, thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all ours. And in the words of my good Uncle Steve, I think we have a good one for everyone today. Now let's get into this gym consultation. I have seen a recent post of yours. You said, excuses don't burn calories. So why don't you tell us what does and why it's important to keep up with the track of calories, because in my group of friends, I only know one person who keeps tracks of the calories they eat. Why is it so important to do that?
Well, it depends on your goals, right? Whether you're looking to lose weight or lose body fat, or even those of you who are looking to put on size, put on quality muscle, tracking of your calories, tracking of your macros is really important because you have to have that baseline to know, okay, what am I working towards? Where am I starting and where am I going? So if you're looking to lose weight, lose body fat, this may be a triggering word for some trainers, but tone up, as a lot of people say, which really just means to lower your body fat and increase the amount of lean muscle that your body has. If you're looking to do that, then you need to be at a caloric deficit. And what that means is you need to be burning more calories than you consume. And the only way to know that is if you track. So, we all have a certain amount of calories that we burn every day just by living. And then we have obviously the calories that we burn through activity like exercise and movement. And then we have the calories that we're consuming through our foods, through our drinks. And so when we look at those two, we look at what we're consuming versus what we're burning. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to be at a deficit. And if you're trying to put on size, quality muscle, then you have to eat at a surplus. And so the only way to know that is if we track them.
See, when I saw your post on Instagram, I was like, you know what? She is going to be perfect for this segment because I'm pretty sure she knows a load bunch about fitness. And so my question would be, does fitness run in your family, or was it something you determined to engage yourself in? Because I know a lot of people have seen you around, whether Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, your posts are literally everywhere. So what was that journey for you?
So I guess you can say that fitness kind of runs in my family, but I started my personal fitness journey when I was 14. I am 28 now, so it's a pretty long time. This year will be 15 years. I really started not so much for a body goal or anything like that. My brother was heavily in the gym at the time. My brother's also the owner of Fitness Connection, that some of you may know. So he was heavy in the gym at the time, and he invited my dad to join him. He was home on summer break from college one summer, and he invited my dad to tag along, and my dad agreed. It was a couple months after our mom had passed, and I just kind of like, okay, I'll tag along, and I got hooked. And so literally since then, my brother, my dad, and I have all been consistently working out. That would have been 2008. And it's just been a huge part of our life. For me, it was really just therapeutic. You hear a lot of people talk about the mental benefits of fitness, the mental benefits of moving and exercise. And I really got to experience that from that young age. And so that's really where my root and my love and my passion for fitness lies. Like I love looking good, feeling good, but that mental escape for me is top tier. And so, yeah, both of my parents were also very athletic. I grew up in a very healthy, or for the most part, very healthy home, really good, nutritious food. My mom was always working out. My dad stayed pretty active as well. He was very active on his job and still is very active. So, yeah, that's kind of my foundation with fitness.
Okay, well, I definitely didn't know that about your mom, but I guess now you kind of represent her in a way where you can guide other people in a healthy lifestyle to keep them going for a long, long time. But since we're on the topic of health and wellness, how does fitness play a role in maintaining a healthy body? Do you need to exercise, or can't you just, rely on dietary supplements to keep you fit?
I'm going to start with supplement. The word supplement means to add to, right? And so that's exactly how you should treat supplements. They're not a replacement for healthy nutrition or actual whole foods. They're not a replacement for, and they're not a replacement for actually moving your body. They're meant to supplement or add to an existing fitness and healthy nutrition regimen. So we know that moving and fitness looks different for everyone. What I don't want people to think is that, fitness means you have to go running or you have to go to the gym. Fitness can be dancing, fitness can be walking, fitness can be rollerblading. It can be so many different things. It can be, whatever it is that gets your heart rate up, whatever gets you moving, whatever gets you active. But we know that when you're sedentary, you're at a higher risk, whether you're eating super, super great or not. But let's be real, most people aren't being perfect with nutrition 24/7. But when you're sedentary, you're at a higher risk for non-communicable diseases like the cancers, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, which we know in the Bahamas is a serious issue. Even for people that are making those strides to move, these things are still plaguing our country. And so with fitness and exercise, I think just for better quality of life, longevity of life, for the mental health benefit, to set an example for the future generations. Fitness and exercise is so important, but I think what's even more important is just finding a way to be consistent with it, to stop the yo-yo, start and stop, and to really just find what works for each individual. The education is important, and just finding a way to ingrain it into the lifestyle is really important as well.
So basically, it kind of ties in together. One boosts the other. So I would ask, do you implement or suggest diet regimens to your clients? Because I know I myself had, I went to one of your fitness sessions, and Lord, that was a lot. Like, I couldn't drive. Like, I really felt it. But do you offer suggestions to your clients when it comes to their personal fitness journey?
For sure. Are you talking about like specifically to exercise, or are you speaking to nutrition?
Yes, to exercise.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So a majority of my clients are either on a weight loss / fat loss journey. I do have some that are like performance based as well, like cyclists that are trying to improve their cycle power, their speed. So everyone's a little bit different, whether it's a man or a woman. I do work with men as well. So everyone's training program is a bit different. And, what I would recommend for Bethany may not be the same for Dudley, it depends on everyone's goals. And so the same thing, and their flexibility, their schedule, their lifestyle, what they're willing to commit to. Because what I always tell people, you don't want to make your fitness regimen something that you have to go out of your way to commit to or to maintain. It should be able to ingrain into your lifestyle. And so realistically, if Bethany could commit 5 days to training and Dudley can only commit 2, then we work with each person where they're at, and we kind of program the training based on where they are, but still in alignment with their goals.
Okay, so in your opinion, what would you say sets Bowflex Barbie, your style of training, above the rest? Because there's a lot of trainers out there. There's a lot of content we can use. What sets you apart from the rest of that?
Okay, good. I'm glad you changed it, because first you said above, and I was going to say, Bethany, trying to get me in trouble.
Sorry, I'm trying to get in trouble.
But I mean, honestly, like, to be real, like fitness, like everyone's style is a bit different, right? I think we all gather inspiration from different places. Like my love and my foundation is in strength and conditioning. So you'll find that that's my foundation for a lot of my training, a lot of my programs, unless I have someone that's training for something else specific, like performance, and we add in other elements like functional training and agility. But my personal training style is very much based on strength and conditioning. So that's a lot of resistance training, gym work, but I do also do group fitness and outdoor stuff as well. But my personal first love is the gym. So that's where a majority of my training is. I think what sets me apart is really just my passion for it. I've been, like I said, on my own fitness journey for the last 15 years, almost 15 years. I've been training others for the last 11, I think. And yeah, I think just my desire to continuously grow, my desire to, and my will to meet my clients where they are, my professionalism, I think, as well, my innovation, I was gonna say innovativeness, I don't know if that's a word, but my, the ability to evolve with the times as well. If you look at COVID, I was already online for a few years before COVID hit. And so I was able to capitalize on that market like right away without having to have any delays in the switch over. Even like the products and stuff like that. It's not just like, I go to the gym and train, but there's so many other avenues. There's products. There's a TV show that I hosted on cable for 2 seasons. There's YouTube. There's so many different other channels. There's corporate stuff, partnerships, both internationally and locally. So just finding ways to continue to expand my reach and just help more people.
So Bethany mentioned that we interviewed someone last week who is basically a vegan specialist, and she owns a deli. And I actually was talking with her some more, and we were talking about like different things, like in terms of like what to eat and like skipping meals and stuff like that. So I know that you said that in order to like lose weight, because it's a question Bethany asked earlier, that you would have to be at a calorie deficit. So what advice would you give to people basically trying to lose weight or trying to lessen their calorie intake, but do it safely, I guess, or in a way that actually is effective?
Sure. So one way you could, create that caloric deficit is if you're trying to burn more than you consume, is burn more. So be more active, burn more calories, meaning, exercise, expend more energy. Or we could cut back on the amount of calories we actually consume if we're not going to up that activity level. And what I always tell people is it can seem very intimidating and overwhelming if you're trying to track your calories. And, some people are like, oh, I'm not good at math. And so I always suggest, you don't have to do it. Like go to the apps. There's so many different free apps. Most people are familiar with MyFitnessPal. You literally plug in your stats, your body weight, your age, your activity level, your goals, and MyFitnessPal will calculate all the pretty much all your calories per day, or the recommended calories per day for your macro split. So how much protein you should be having, how much carbs, how much fats you should be having, and then you can plug in, what it is you're eating each day and kind of see where you fall, and what you need to adjust. Because I think a lot of times people don't think that certain meals are as many calories as they are. Like your standard fast food meal can literally be the amount of calories you should be having for the whole day. And let's be honest, most people they have that fast food meal and then 2 or 3 other meals after that. So they're way over that threshold of the recommended caloric intake for being at a deficit. So I would say, download an app like MyFitnessPal, plug in just like what you eat on a regular day, kind of see where you fall above or below the recommended caloric intake, and then you can make adjustments from there to make sure you're hitting those targets.
So one of the most interesting things that I heard from you is how you said that a lot of your base is in the strength and conditioning arena. And even when I look through your YouTube channel, I see, you have some workouts that incorporate some dumbbells. And I think that's a very interesting thing, because when I first went into the gym and I told some of my friends, a lot of the women in particular were like, oh, well, I'm scared of going into the gym because I could get buff and look like a man, and I don't want to look like that. So what would you say to dispel that myth that, as soon as you go in the gym, you're gonna be less feminine, I guess?
Sadly, that is probably my number one. Like I hate it, and I just can't believe that I still have to say it in 2022. Yes, you're right. A lot of women are afraid of the gym. They're afraid of weight. They're afraid of weightlifting because they don't want to look like a man. So let's break it down. So in order to look like a male bodybuilder or a man or be bulky, you have to be lifting a lot of weight very frequently. And you also have to be eating a whole lot of food in order to get size. When we talked about being at the caloric surplus, in order to get size on your body, you have to be like, naturally women aren't able to build the same amount of muscle as men. So the reality of a woman looking like a man from lifting weights is it's not going to happen naturally. And so what a lot of women see, if you see like female bodybuilders, I'm a bodybuilder as well, but if you see female bodybuilders that are like freakishly big, like similar to the size of men, which even now in the sport, they're tapering away from that look. For a lot of the women's, like general women's bodybuilders, they're not natural. So if you see a freakishly big woman, huge muscles, super bulky, chances of her being, not on some stuff to help her get there is very slim. Naturally, women cannot, we don't have the same amount of testosterone as men. We have estrogen. We are naturally designed to carry more fat than men, which is why, a lot of times I'm like, oh, men lose weight so much faster. They have more testosterone, they naturally burn more. And we're designed to carry more fat than men naturally. So going in the gym, lifting your 5, 10, 15 pounds, doing a couple exercises is not going to make you bulky. It's not going to make you look like a man. Even for me, with the amount of muscle that I have, and I'm aware that I have more than the average woman, the amount of muscle that I have took me years and years and years to build. So it wasn't like I went into the gym for 3 months and pop, I had muscle. I also have my genetic makeup is very athletic. Yes, no, women are not going to go in the gym and automatically come out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months. It would take years to build a substantial amount of muscle, years of consistently training and eating to grow. And so if you're not doing that, then you're not going to put on that much muscle.
Oh, I was gonna say because you mentioned your genetics. I think and yeah, brain. So you mentioned your genetics, and I'm sure that a lot of people don't necessarily understand what role their genetics play in their fitness, like how they'll end up, like how their fitness journey will look based off of that. So could you explain that a little bit more for the listeners, please?
Sure. So like I said, genetics, it does play a part. Like everyone's body type is not identical. So regardless of whether me and you start a workout regimen, we're doing the exact same thing for the same amount of time, we're same level of consistency, our bodies aren't going to respond the same way simply because of genetics. And there's nothing we could do about that. The reality is I can never have the same exact body type or body shape as someone else just because of my genetic makeup. And so, that could play a factor in how your body stores weight, which for most women, a lot of women are bottom heavy. You have some that are top heavy. So as they start to lose weight, the places that store fat or store more fat tend to hold on to fat a little bit longer. So yeah, I would tell people like, don't focus on like, oh, I want to look like this. And it's just like, no, focus on what the best version of you looks like, because the reality is your body is not identical to mine. My body's not identical to yours or anyone else's. So the focus should be to just be the best version of you.
So, like, speaking of being the best version of you, when you're starting like your fitness journey and you walk into a fitness store, it's like filled with like different bottles of supplements and all of that stuff. And it's like so daunting deciding like, because some people would like some help when they're getting into their journey, and it's so daunting deciding what is necessary and what is actually like placebo and not necessary. So what would be like 2 or 3 things that you would recommend someone, a beginner, get from a fitness store?
My brother actually owns Fitness Connection, and their staff there is amazing, great service. They can help you decide what is great for your specific goals, but I'll also touch on some things that I would recommend. I actually just had a call last week with my online course about supplementation, and we went through some of the things with my brother on the call as well. And so protein is a big thing. A lot of people have a myth around protein that it causes you to bulk up again. But protein is really just, and I mean, supplementation in general is meant to add to enhance. And so, no, you don't need everything in the store based on your goals. If you're someone like me that's trying to either maintain muscle or build lean muscle, lose body fat, you may be looking for a meal replacement that has protein in it. You may be looking for a protein supplement because you find it hard to eat all the required protein to hit your macros. Your macros being, let's say for protein specifically, usually if you're working out, you should be eating 1 gram of protein or around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if I'm 50 pounds, I need to be eating 150 grams of protein. And that can be difficult, for some people that could be like 5, 6 meals a day. And so if you're not someone that could realistically do that, you're not going to be eating, 3 servings of 3 ounces of chicken breast, 6 eggs. If that's not realistic for you, then a lot of people will supplement with a protein shake, because you can get 24 to 30 grams in 1 scoop. You mix it in your water or your almond milk or whatever, and That's the easy way. You can do 2 of those maybe a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and you get that instant protein without having to necessarily cook or, force yourself to eat the protein. Another one I recommend always is multivitamins. Your multivitamins really just help you to maintain overall health, whether you're working out or not, whether you've got specific body goals or not, just keeping your body healthy. I love pre-workout. If you're someone that works out and you struggle, especially work out in the morning, I work out very early in the morning. I like that boost of energy. And so pre-workout has been good for me. There's also other natural and like stuff that has stimulants in it to help you with fat loss, specifically like L-carnitine, which helps your metabolism. If you find your metabolism is slowing down for whatever reason, hormone stuff. And another one that I usually recommend for my clients is CLA, which helps reduce the amount of fat that your body stores. Both of those are natural or more natural. CLA is natural, L-carnitine is as well. And what else would I say? Those would be the main ones. I would say branched chain aminos are also really good for recovery, hydration. I know a lot of times we don't drink enough water, and so they help to replenish and rebuild the muscles as well. And protein is also really good for that too. If you're working out, when you exercise, you're breaking the muscle down, and recovery is when the change and everything really happens. And so you want to make sure you're giving yourself enough protein to help rebuild the muscles. And so, yeah, I would say protein, multivitamins, and if you're a morning workout or need a pick-me-up, pre-workout would be my top 3. If you're not, energy isn't an issue, then I would say maybe a branched chain amino acid, also known as BCAAs, to help with hydration and recovery.
You must have known my next question was going to be about pre-workout, because that's kind of like a controversial thing where people are saying that it's not necessary, that you should just get to working out, and that it's like not healthy for like your heart health or whatever, because it's, and I've taken it and it was like the feeling, it was crazy. Like you get itchy all over. But what would be like what you say to those who say it's not healthy for your journey?
I will tell you, if I had to choose one, my brother asked me this last week on the call, if you had to choose one supplement and only one to take for the rest of your life, what would it be? It would be pre-workout for me. Like I love pre-workout. The itchiness that you're referring to is actually, and it's not in all of them. And you have different ones. I've tried a lot of different ones. The thing that makes you itch is beta-alanine. It usually wears off after a few minutes. I actually really like the itching because that's when I know it's kicking in. But I mean, it depends. So everyone's different, right? Like if you're taking a pre-workout with stimulants like caffeine and the beta-alanine, you're gonna have that kind of rush of energy. If you're sensitive to caffeine or have pre-existing heart conditions, stuff like that, then obviously no, stimulant-free pre-workout would be the better option, which does exist. And there's more natural versions, even vegan pre-workouts. There's so many different types of, like you said, you can walk into a fitness store and feel immediately overwhelmed because you don't know which one is best for you. But I know that I'm not sensitive to caffeine. Like I could have a cup of coffee and then take a scoop of pre-workout and still function okay. But there's some people that literally can't have coffee. They feel jittery. So if you're sensitive to caffeine or have pre-existing heart conditions, then no, pre-workout with caffeine would not be a safer option. But if you can tolerate caffeine, then it is. If you're sensitive to it, then you may want to look at a stimulant-free or a more natural energy source. And there's so many different ones. You can, even you can take amino energy. That's another one. So it has the branched chain aminos, like we talked about earlier, that help rehydrate and give you, that recovery benefit, but also a little like a more natural and gentle boost of energy than the caffeine and the other stimulants. So there's like green tea extract, which is known to be a natural source of energy. Stuff like that is in it instead of all the added caffeine and stuff that would spike the heart rate and kind of give you that itchy or jittery feeling. But like you said, it's totally like, if you don't need the energy boost, then I say don't bother with it. But there's some of them that even have like focus benefits. So if you're someone like me that kind of loses focus on your workout after about 45 minutes, I like pre-workout because it helps me kind of lock in for the full hour to hour and a half and get my stuff done, opposed to starting to kind of lose my gist after a while.
Okay, now I know we here talking about all of this protein stuff, and I know protein helps to build certain areas that I know my hot girls ready to hear about. So, Dekel, summer is coming. How do we get our, waist flatter and our buttocks? You know what I'm saying?
So Bethany, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if anyone ever told you that you could take a supplement or you could do a workout and it's going to transfer the fat from your stomach to your butt, they lied. Because you cannot spot reduce fat, and you what you can do is build muscle in certain areas. I will take that back a little bit. So if you're looking to grow your glutes, you can do movements that will help build muscle there, but all that takes time, right? You're not realistically going to get 2 to 3 inches on your glutes in 2 to 3 months. It takes time even to like shape them. You can maybe shape and lift in a couple months, but growing takes time. It will take you a good solid couple months of consistency. I won't tell y'all yes and discourage y'all, but that's the reality. And then with, you can't spot reduce fat. So no matter how many crunches and sit-ups and twists and stuff you do, you're going to strengthen your core muscles, which is great because having a strong core is important for just general health and, every other movement that you do. But it's not going to make your stomach flatter. You have to be eating, like we talked about, you have to be at that caloric deficit in order to reduce your body fat, your overall body fat. And as your overall body fat drops, you'll notice, your stomach will go down. And the areas that you don't want to lose as much size, you have to make sure that you're doing the strength training, the resistance training to keep that muscle as full as possible.
Dekel, I ain't even gonna lie. You done hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't lie to you though. I couldn't lie. I couldn't sell you a dream.
Well, now that most of our dreams have been crushed, I do have a little game that I wanted to play with you. It's called Myth or Fact. So basically, I'm gonna give you a few statements and you're gonna tell us whether or not it's a myth or a fact. And I feel like our audience will be very informed about these myths or facts because I sure want to be informed. So here we go. First one, after a BBL, you don't need to exercise. Myth or fact?
This is also relative, but I mean, my recommendation would be, I would say myth. Some people may say it's facts, but I would say it's a myth. You're going to need to maintain. If you want to maintain your results, you're going to need to exercise. Yeah.
Okay, second one up. Sit-ups will help you lose fat around the stomach.
I just gave that one away, so myth.
If you're exercising and not losing weight, you're doing something wrong.
I feel like you want me to say fact. So I will say fact, but I'm also going to add that, if you're exercising and not losing weight, it could also be hormonal. It could also be not, as a woman especially, it could not be that it could be that you're doing everything right. But it could just be your body and your hormones are out of whack, or, something is off and your body is storing fat. It could be, people with PCOS struggle. They have to do, things a lot differently. So I wouldn't say everyone isn't doing something wrong if they're working out and eating healthy and not losing weight. But if you're working out and eating horribly and not losing weight, we know that you're doing something wrong there. But in some instances, it is also where, you have people that are eating really well, exercising regularly and still struggling just because their hormone, like I said, their hormone levels or some other pre-existing condition is kind of hindering that as well.
So in a way, they may need to go to a doctor to get it checked out, right?
Exactly. I've had clients that have had that, I've had that conversation with them, or I've met people that told me, they were consistent for months and months and really putting in the work and really cleaning up their nutrition and, saw little to no progress. And so they took it upon themselves to go to the doctor and realize, I'm really, something was off. That was really hindering that. You hear a lot of women with thyroid issues struggle with that as well. So yeah, I would say if you find yourself, doing all the right things and you're not seeing the progress, then I suggest going to, see a physician.
Okay, on to the next one. You burn more calories if you exercise before eating.
That is a myth. Some people, I do fasted cardio, but it's really just, it's not a matter of burning more calories. For me, it's what taps into the fat reserves first. And even that's been argued and debated, whether versus, eating before you do cardio makes a difference. Some people say that it doesn't, some people say that it does. Some studies will tell you, fasted is the best thing. Eating first is the best thing, but it isn't a difference in calories. It's really just some people believe that fasted cardio taps into your body's fat storage faster than when you eat. And what I typically recommend is only doing cardio fasted, like not lifting weights or doing like resistance training fasted, because your body needs the carbohydrates and the protein for energy. Otherwise, it's going to feed off your muscles and it's going to defeat the purpose. When I say feed off your muscles, like when you're training, you're breaking them down. And so you want to make sure that you have the energy source to actually work out and get a great workout in, if you're lifting weights especially. And so I usually don't recommend lifting and doing resistance training fasted, because if you do, then your body is going to pull from your muscle for energy, and you don't want that. You want it to pull on the fat and the carbohydrates for energy instead.
Okay, you're doing good. We got 2 more to go. It's best to exercise in the morning.
Fascinating you give me all these like relative questions. I prefer morning, so I'm gonna say fast. But honestly, it's whenever you can, right? I like mornings because you're fresh. It sets the tone for your day. You're able to use that energy. Those endorphins start flowing from the morning. You don't have to dread it all day as if you're doing it, and if you were doing it in the evening. But the reality is everyone can't get out in the morning and do it. So I say, if you can't do it in the morning, do it when you can. Do it in the afternoon, do it in the evening. But I personally love mornings. I just like starting my day, and I like getting it out the way, getting it done, not having to think about it for the rest of the day. And it also gives me a good boost of energy for the day.
I am someone, I love to do most of my exercises at night or somewhere around the evening time. But I have been doing not like crazy exercises, like maybe like 10 to 15 minutes of morning exercises. And oh my gosh, I feel so much better throughout the day. I feel like putting on makeup. I feel like, being a girl again. I'm just like, maybe it is the best. Maybe it is the best. Maybe there are studies there.
For a different type of day. If you look at like the Millionaire Secrets, all of them will tell you they get up early and they work out first thing in the morning. It's just something that it does to your mind, your mental space. You get more clarity, you get more energy. Yeah, so I vote for mornings, but obviously if mornings can't work for you, then whenever you can.
Okay, so my question that I had is for someone like me who doesn't really like exercise. I mean, I don't mind eating healthy, but exercising, I just can't seem to stay consistent. Like I would start and I would do it for a couple of weeks and then I would just stop. So what advice do you have for people like me who find it difficult to stay consistent when it comes to exercising?
Okay. If you're struggling with consistency, I would say the first thing to do is just take a step back and look at your why. Why do you want to exercise? What is the reason? Is it, I want to feel more comfortable in my skin. I want to look better in my clothes. I want to have, I want to set myself up to not be sick in a couple of years, or, what's the reason for even wanting to be on this health and fitness journey? And then establishing, what your goals are. Not just I want to lose weight, not just I want to look good. What exactly does that look like? How much weight do you want to lose? What is your ideal weight? What is your ideal aesthetic? Like being really specific about your goals, obviously having a plan in place. I find when people struggle with consistency is usually because they're kind of just winging it. Like, okay, I know I have to exercise, so I'm going to go running. And then, it's kind of like, it's not purposeful. It's not structured. It's not intentional. And so I would say make sure you have a solid plan in place. And then also make sure you're doing something that you actually like. Like you said, you don't really, if you're like me, I would never commit to running regularly. I don't like running. I have done it. I forced myself to do it for a while. And when I was done with the span that I did it, I literally have not done it since. So running is not something I would say, okay, just because everyone else is running or my friend lost a bunch of weight running, and I want to lose a bunch of weight, that I'm going to go run. I would find something else. So for me, I started incorporating rollerblading. And I know that some people be like, what? But I loved rollerblading as a child. And so I said, why not? You know, it's a great way to get your heart rate up. It feels fun. So some people like to do dance fitness. Some people like to do group workouts because they have, you know, the social element. They get to, you know, meet up with their friends, or they meet new people. And they have people around them that are working towards similar goals. So I would say just try to find some elements. It doesn't have to be every single thing that you do has to be, you know, you have to love it, but try to find some ways into your routine so that you're able to be consistent. You also want to make sure that you're not having to go out of your way to incorporate exercise into your routine too. So like if that means you got to wake up at 3 a.m. because you want to do it in the morning before whatever else you got to do, the reality is if you hate mornings, you're not a morning person, you're going to be able to be consistent because you don't like mornings. So, you know, you want to make sure that when you're scheduling your workouts, it's able to fit into your existing life and it's not going to throw you off, you know, throw you out of your way to add it in. I find that's a big thing with consistency too. People feel like they have to stretch themselves so thin and they have to do so much and they get burnt out. And so they stop. And so I think, you know, adding those elements, making sure you have a clear understanding of what your goals are, what your why is, and reminding yourself of that when you feel like, you know, I want to sleep in today because it's raining, or I want to sleep in because it's a little chilly. Remind yourself of why you're doing this, and how you're gonna feel once you achieve it, right? And then, like I said, like making sure that you're not having to stretch yourself so thin or go so far out of your way to actually be consistent as well.
I tell you no lie, for me, every time my reasons always change. And every time my reasons change, the only thing I could envision is Cardi B saying, "What was the reason?" But the first reason I had was because I wanted to, you know, just in case there was ever a little Bethany running around the place, I could be there until, you know, they get 20, 30s, have my grandchildren. And then I was like, okay, this may not be realistic here. So let me change my reason. And so now it's just to look good on the beach. Since we are talking about reasons, something I have noticed is that you wear a lot of pink. Now, is that just your favorite color or is there a reason behind that?
Well, it's my brand color, Bethany. But honestly, the pink was not my initial brand color. I was actually green and blue. Most people only know it for pink, for know Bowflex Barbie for pink. But when I rebranded, I think in 2017, shortly after I moved to Nassau, I kind of changed over to pink and it just kind of stuck. You know, it fit with the whole Bowflex Barbie. Pink has grown on me, I will say. My friends will tell you it's my favorite color. I don't claim it as my favorite color, but I do have a lot of pink. And I think also just tribute to my mom as well. You know, pink is the color for breast cancer awareness. And she passed from a 10-year battle with breast cancer. And like I said earlier, she was very into fitness. She actually was a PE teacher. And I learned after her passing, my dad told me that she actually had dreams of opening her own fitness studio as well. And so I think maybe not intentionally, but kind of subconsciously, it is kind of a way to pay tributes to her as well. And kind of let her legacy live on as well.
Shanae, you had something to say?
No, I was just gonna say that that's amazing and it's really cool. And like Bethany was talking about her reasons, and like you mentioned, my reasons kind of changed, but they always were multiple, I guess. And I also had a battle with cancer, so that I had gained a lot of weight. So I forced myself to lose the weight to get to a certain point, and once I got to that goal, I had another goal, but I never kind of got there, and I just could never find the time to be consistent. Or stay motivated, like you said. And I do think it's because I don't really have a direction. But that's why I asked that question, because I really wanted.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing with fitness, like if you're working towards a specific goal and you're not just working out for general health and to, for, the recommended 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week, then you want to be intentional. You want to have structure to your programming. I've found even me as a trainer, like I said, I also do bodybuilding and compete. So, but but I have a coach. I have someone that holds me accountable. I have someone that creates my programming, because I find, even for me that's been doing it for so long, I tend to sometimes wing it if you leave it up to me. And I kind of can get a little relaxed and, complacent in where I'm at. And so having that layer of accountability, having that structure, makes a huge difference. So especially if you're just, trying to get consistent, building that habit with the repetition, having that accountability, having that structure, being intentional is so important. And I find once you get into the swing of it, you do it for a few months consistently, you'll find it's a lot easier to be consistent. Even when you do slip up or you do fall off, you kind of can get yourself back on track a lot easier, instead of waiting, months, weeks, to get back on track and kind of feeling defeated.
Well, while we're on the topic of, just being aware of all of the things that fitness allows you to, kind of miss in a way, I know that you do a lot of special collaborations with organizations and things of that sort. So why don't you give us a little insight on how you get the ball rolling in that area of fitness?
Are you referring to a specific collaboration? I just want to make sure I'm taking it in the right context.
Well, I know there was one where you collab with Wear Fit Chicks around.
Okay, so yeah, so again, so remember, We Are Fit Chicks is the brand We Are Fit. The Instagram is We Are Fit Chicks. The brand is actually called Fit Chicks. Is a line from Fitness Connection. So that's my brother's line as well. And they don't give me credit for it, but I actually came up with that name. So, but
you get credit now.
We did a collab. Thank you. So we came up with I presented them with the idea, him and his manager in Freeport, because he actually lives in Freeport, with the idea last I would say August. We sat down and we decided, I think we should do a special launch for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so the Rose Collection, which is actually named after our mom. Our mom's name was Rosina. And so we came up with the idea with the Rose Collection. We collabed on it. So you'd see 2 logos on all the pieces. And what we did was we named each piece from the collection. There are 5 pieces. We named each piece after a woman that was currently battling breast cancer. And so you had the Jessica top, the Denise, the Lorraine, the Sharon, and it's actually 4 pieces, I think, that were named after them. But anyway, and then one was everyone split the proceeds. But what happened was all the proceeds from the collection were split evenly amongst these women to help them with their fight against breast cancer. Sometimes we would, just make a donation to an organization, and we don't always know where or who we're helping, So the initiative was really designed to actually, see the people that we were helping and to connect with them and really feel like we were making an impact in their lives. And all of them were actually actively undergoing treatment. One of the ladies actually passed away right before Christmas. And it was really devastating. It was really heartbreaking. We really felt for her family, because we had already interviewed her and had photo shoots with her and just got to know her a lot better. But it did also feel like really good to actually be able to connect with her and help in some way in her fight. And so that was one of the collabs that we did last year. I do collaborate with my brother on Fitness Connection on a lot of different projects. You'll see that we do work together, but that was a really, really special initiative.
Your brother is literally everywhere. Like, does he not? I don't wow, speechless. Okay, well, today is about you. And so I do want to wrap this segment up. And also, I want to extend our thanks to Ms. Bowflex Barbie herself, and to our Candid family. Thanks for tuning in once again. Please follow us at Candid242 on Facebook and Instagram. And like always, keep it real, Bahamas.